Hi, and welcome to the third lesson in this series of lessons on the chords that you need to play basic electric blues guitar in the old school style. This lesson is on 9th chords, and 9th chords are a type of chord that you will use all the time if you're playing electric blues. And guys like T-Bone Walker, Pee Wee Creighton, the guitar players that played behind Sonny Boy Williams and Little Walter, pretty much every electric blues guitar player in the 50s, 60s, back into the 40s, up into the 70s a little bit, and even today uses these 9th chords. Let's get started. There's two basic positions. I'm going to show you the two positions and then show you how to move them. And these are chords that are movable, which means you learn the shape and then you can use it almost anywhere on the neck. Start with a G9. And that is the sound. You've probably heard that before. If you heard T-Bone Walker, you hear this. Chords like that. Here's the shape. My first finger is on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. My second finger is on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. My ring finger is on the 3rd fret of the 4th string, and my pinky is on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Now, how do I know what key I'm in? To me, I'm not musically gifted at all. I never studied music. I just kind of memorized some of these things. And with the G chord, here's your G, but here's G9. So the way I remember is when I make this chord, I use the first position bar chord. So here's my first position G, and I put my pinky and my ring finger on the 3rd fret where the bar would be. And that's how I know that that's G 9th chord. So if I'm an A, here's my first position A bar chord. There's A. If I'm in B flat, there's B flat 9th. That's how I learned it, and that's how I keep track of things. So that's why it's important to know what note you have on the 5th and the 6th and the 5th strings. So this is G9. This would be A flat 9, A9. This would be B flat 9, B9, C9, C sharp 9, D9, E flat 9, E9, F9. And so those are the first position 9th chords. So that shape can be moved anywhere on the neck. Now the second position 9th chords, we'll take those in the same area. The chord looks like this. And we're basing the chord on the 5th string. That's a C, 2nd string, or 3rd fret of the 5th string. And that would be a C9, the same as this. Just played in a different spot on the neck. So my first finger is going to be on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, 4th string rather. My second finger will be on the root, which is the C, 3rd fret of the 5th string. Then I take my ring finger and I flatten it out over the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings at the 3rd fret. So again, I can move this. If that's a C9, D9, E9, F9, G9, A9. And for this, I'm following the notes on the 5th string, which is the same as what you learned when you learned the second position bar chord. So here's a D, second position bar chord. So there's your 9th chord. And one way to remember it is you go to the first finger position on the second position bar chord and make your 9th chord. That's where you're going to flatten your finger out. So if you're in second position E bar chord, go to where the first finger is, flatten your finger. That's E9th. That's my crazy way of remembering where these things are and what to play. And after you play enough, you'll just memorize and not have to think too much. Now some of the in-between chords, like an E flat 9, A flat 9, those you may have to work on to remember. But again, if you know what those notes are, A flat 9, A flat 9, it's pretty easy to to remember once you practice a lot. Now the 9th chords, just like the other chords, a good way to practice, just getting started, practice taking your fingers off, putting them back on, and seeing how accurately you can do it. When you get comfortable, then try to strum it and make sure it sounds the way it's supposed to sound. Again, if it sounds bad or if it sounds muted, it means your fingers probably aren't fretting the strings properly, or they aren't in the middle of the fret or in the center between the frets instead of on top of them. You want to make sure that you can hear each note when you pick it one at a time. Do that with each chord. Take your hand up, get the sound good, and then switch back and forth. Make up a melody, or see if you can find a song that has those chords in it and practice switching. T-Bone Walker, a lot of his stuff is just 9th chords. He's a good guy to listen to if you want to practice your 9th chords and play along with some stuff. So those are 9th chords. First position, second position, you'll use those all the time. And along with 7th chords, those are really important to learn. The next lesson, number 4, we'll start learning some of the different kind of other basic chords that aren't as common but are still used, minor chords and some 6th and some other things. So I'll be back with the next lesson here pretty quick. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. See you again soon.